All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Easy Money, a sports betting show, Monday, November 27th, 2023. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez. How's it going?
Going pretty good. Not too bad. You had to get today's date right.
Yeah, if I missed today's day, that'd be a pretty bad thing. Hey, how's it going, Glenn? Glenn, thanks, Glenn, as well. Let's see what we got on here. All right.
How'd you do on your picks?
I had a pretty good weekend.
I didn't do too bad.
On Friday, I went 8-3 overall. I had the NFL game right. Went 1-1 in college football, 2-1 in hockey, 2-1 in the NBA, and 2-0 in college basketball.
Yeah, on Friday I went 7-3. Did pretty well. Did good in my college football picks for Friday. I went 3-0, which is unusual for me with college football, and did pretty good in my NHL. Went 3-1. Struggled on my NBA. Overall, though, on for all my picks for the whole thing, I went 12-7, and I had one push. I had Philadelphia -3, and I ended up being a push.
Let's see. Saturday, I went 3-1 in college football, and Sunday I went 3-0 in the NFL. So for the weekend, I was 14-4.
Pretty good.
So I had a real good weekend. On a game I got wrong in college football, I took North Carolina to -2.5 over NC State, and that was wrong. And in NFL yesterday, I was 3-0. I had the Titans -3.5, Colts -2.5, and the Rams at the -2.5. So that puts my record up there pretty good for the year. My record's 670 to 502 on the year.
Billy Buzz got a big win.
Hey, how's it going, Billy? Thanks, Billy. And then, yeah, KC, Denver, Rams, and Eagles in overtime. Yeah, 422.
That's a nice one. Couple things I wanted to touch on real quick before we get into our picks. Frank Wright getting fired. What'd you think about that?
It didn't surprise me that he got fired because of the owner. I mean, the owner's not very patient, and you just haven't seen no improvement in that team at all. Honestly, I think they've gotten worse as the seasons went on instead of better. I know you have a rookie quarterback and you have a young team, per se, a young team. But if you look what that team was doing at the end of last season with Wilkes, with what people consider not as good of a quarterback, you know what I mean? So, and the team just kind of went down. But also, with me saying that, like I said, it didn't surprise me because of who the owner is. But with that owner, if you don't give somebody a chance, you're never going to be able to build anything either. So, I mean, I understand you want to see results, but also you got to give somebody a couple of years to try to build something, or I don't know if they'll ever build anything.
I think personally, I thought they should have kept Wilkes. I think you
Yeah.
kind of felt that way too. But I think if you bring Reich in and you're hoping he's going to be able to do something with a quarterback, you got to give him more than 11, 12 games,
Yeah.
especially with a rookie quarterback. But it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
But if you look at all the stuff you hear about what happened in Indy last year with Reich,
yeah,
and then with what's going on this year with Reich, something's off with Reich from what he had been before he took the Colts job, and even the first few years with the Colts, it wasn't terrible. There was times I didn't like some of his decisions, but he wasn't terrible. Then last year, it just seemed like his offense couldn't do nothing, and this year his offense hasn't been able to do nothing. I think it might be a good idea for him to kind of maybe take a break from being from coaching for a year or so and try to rejuvenate.
He may have to. He may not have no choice.
Well, he might not have a choice at this point because I mean, who's going to hire him right now?
Next thing, I had two more things. I want to talk about the Colts, but I have one other thing. I don't know if you read this or not. I read it. It's a rumor. Not saying it's true. And who reported it? It's about 50-50 on their stuff, and they report some crazy stuff too. Rumor going around that John Gruden might end up at IU.
Yeah, I saw that.
What do you think about that?
I would like it just because I'm a big IU. I've always been an IU fan, and it'd be cool for our football team to finally have a big name coach. I know some people hate Gruden, some people like Gruden. Gruden's been in the news for bad things, for good things. I mean, but you can say what you want about him. That Raiders team was decent when he was there. I think if that wouldn't have happened, they were moving in the right direction. He done some good things in Tampa Bay, even though everybody will tell you he won the Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team. Yeah. But I think he's a good coach, and he's good at with quarterbacks and on the offensive side of the ball. I think it'd be good for IU because we need a coach. I mean, we need bringing in a big name like that might revitalize the football team a little bit, might help with the recruiting a little bit. Yeah, especially. So to me, I'm all for it.
I think
kind of agree with what Glenn says. He's all for it too.
I would be for it because, especially since the Big Ten is getting a bunch of more teams. You know, you're getting USC, UCLA, I believe.
18 teams.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, you got to do something to shake things up to try to be able to recruit and to be able to compete. I think it might not work, but I'm all for it. They need to do something.
You got to try something.
And is there
let me ask you this real quick? Did it surprise you that they fired Allen?
No.
I didn't either.
I think it was time. I mean, he had a couple good, decent seasons, but never got over the hump and started going the other way.
Ever since he lost the Penix and that offensive coordinator, it kind of started going the other way.
Gruden does know talent. He knows talent. So I think that would help, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I think that would help. And just getting that name in there, they got to do something. I'm all for it. I'd love to see it. The next thing was the Indianapolis Colts. What do you think about the Colts winning this past weekend? What was it, 27-20? I think it ended up being.
Yeah, I thought they played pretty well. Kind of disappointed me a little bit there at the end, but because we let them back in a little bit. We was up by 10, and we couldn't move the ball. Let them get back in and get within 7 or whatever. And I thought, okay, here we go. But defense made some big plays when they needed to. Minshew needs to stop thinking he's an all-world quarterback and trying to throw the ball off balance and stuff like that. He gets himself in trouble there a lot. But you also have to remember, as a Colts fan, I'm not saying that our starter this year was 1,000 times better than Minshew because we don't know what we have in Richardson because he got hurt. But he's also a backup quarterback. He's not a perennial starter in the NFL. So there's a ceiling with Minshew. I did think at the beginning of the game we got a little too pass happy in that first half. After we got the touchdown, got the lead, and it was like all we wanted to do was pass. It's like hand the ball off to Taylor. Taylor and Moss both had big, pretty good games. I'm not gonna say real huge games number wise, but I think Taylor had close to 100 yards.
91 yards on 15 carries.
And Moss, I think, had 65, 70 yards off 8 or 9 carries, something like that. Yep. So, when they were getting the ball, it was effective. So I do think sometimes we need to stick with the run a little more. Offensive line, I thought played pretty decent. But no, I like where the Colts are at, and I think they have a good chance of making the playoffs this year, even with the injuries we've had. And I think Steichen is doing a good job as a first time head coach.
I worry about the defense still. We give up some big plays sometimes, and I think we got to get better there, not giving up big plays. But yeah, I mean, speaking of making the playoffs, our next game we have the Titans. Titans are 4-7, and the thing of it is, none of these games are. I'm gonna sit there and say Colts are definitely going to win. I'm not. I don't think we're that kind of team to be able to say that. But we've got the Titans up next. After that, we're at the Titans. We're at the Bengals. Then we're home with the Steelers. We're at the Falcons. Home with the Raiders, and home with the Texans. Them are all winnable games. Also, we could lose all those games, but we could win. And we was talking last night. If we finish, we're 6-5. If we finish 3-3, but end up 9-8. That might make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you have. If we win 3, it'll give us a good chance. If we can win 4, I think we have a real good chance of being. Because I know, like on the radio today, when I took Austin to work earlier, they were saying that on Dan Patrick, they were thinking, I forget what team they were talking about, one of the AFC teams, and they thought if they got to 8 wins, that might be 8 wins might be good enough to get you in the last wild card spot. And I'm thinking, really 8? There's so many teams around that 6-5, 5-6. I think it's going to take at least 9.
They thought that in the AFC. They thought that.
But the last wild card spot, the 8 wins might be. I forget which team they were talking about now.
And then I had you got anything else on the Colts?
No.
Okay, I got one other thing real quick. What do you think about this Ravens defense?
You said Ravens?
Ravens.
Okay. I thought you said Raiders. I was like, why are you asking about the Raiders?
No, the Ravens. I mean, they're number 1, number 2 in a bunch of categories. I think 5 games this year they've given up 10 or less points.
Oh no, yeah, their defense is tough, and what scares me about them isn't their defense; it's that they lost Andrews for the season, but their offense is it's looked better than it has, I think, in the last year or the year before. Which some of that is Lamar Jackson's on the field because he was been hurt so much. But Jackson's been throwing the ball well. I like that they. I like that they switched offensive coordinators, and I think I told you this the other day that I thought the Ravens was right there to be able to win the AFC, and they put right now they'd be number 1 seed. So they're in position. It does worry me. You lose Andrews. Are they going to have enough weapons without Andrews? You have Flowers, who's been tough. I mean, I think Isaiah Flowers is going to be a real good player for him. You have OBJ, who he has spurts where he's still capable of making some big plays, but it seems like it's more sporadic than it is like all the time. But with that defense, they have a chance to win any game because that defense is just so hard to score points on.
They and they want to run the football. If they can run the football, that helps them a lot. Yeah. The guy needs to step up for him, and he didn't look bad last night. Is that Likely?
Yeah.
If Likely could step up and
that's the other thing. They lost Dobbins again. Look, yes. I mean, it seems like every year they lose a couple of their big weapons.
Mitchell looked tough last night. I don't know where he came from, but he looked really good.
That was a good game last night, too.
Yeah, it was. Glenn talking about something I don't like to talk about.
Before we go to that, I want to ask you about last night. Okay. The Chargers. Everybody wants to talk about how Staley's a terrible coach, and it's all his fault. And I understand, hey, he's the head coach, you're the head guy, so what happens? But at some point, the players have to be held fucking accountable. I mean, what was it? 4 turnovers? I know at least three in the first half. And I think there was one in the second half. So 4 turnovers, and they were still in that game the whole time with a chance to win. So their defense,
they should have won that.
Their defense done a decent job of keeping them in the game. And I think Justin Herbert's a hell of a quarterback. I do, but I mean, turnovers. Keenan Allen had one. Herbert. I mean,
running back.
Eckler. I mean, they shoot themselves in the foot so many times. I understand people will come back and say, "Well, that's on the coach," but schematically and stuff, yeah, I put that on the coach. But the players have to. You're on the field, you got to perform, and if you're continuously fumbling the ball and making mistakes like that, at some point, that's on you.
Yep.
And I'm not saying Staley's a great coach at all. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying I think some of it is. I don't think it's all him. I think he's a better coach. I think he's a better coach than what people give him credit for. But it's hard to give him that credit because of the way his team has performed. Because what was it? They've lost six games, 6-1 scores games this year or something like that now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so, I mean, that record could be totally different if you just clean up some of the mistakes. And some of it's not play calling mistakes or schematically mistakes. Some of them are just like fumbles and stupid penalties at bad times and just stuff like that.
Yeah, actually, San Diego's defense has played a lot better this year than last year. So their defense has gotten some better. But I do think he's going to get fired. I think Staley will get fired at the end of the year.
Oh, I do too.
Whether he deserves it or not, I mean, I don't know.
I think Staley's going to get fired. And Bill Belichick's going to be the new coach of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Really? Uh-oh.
I think New England's going. They're going to. I don't know if they're necessarily going to fire him or. Well, I think they're basically going to fire him. But I think it's going to come out as they're going to part ways. Because the respect they got for Bill, and I think Bill's going to go to Los Angeles where he has a quarterback.
Okay, who goes to New England?
Rumor is, and I can kind of see it happen. The only thing I don't know if it happens because quarterback, but where he's at right now, you really don't know if he has a quarterback. Is Mike Vrabel from Tennessee? Yeah, that's true. Because he has a real good relationship with Kraft. I mean, I think Vrabel's he's a good coach, but you got to figure out the quarterback situation. That's why he needs to figure out in Tennessee right now. I don't know if Levis, you know what I mean? It's still early. We don't know if Levis is going to be that guy or not, but Levis started out pretty good, and since then it hasn't looked the greatest.
But that happens with the rookies, though.
Oh, yeah. Unless your name is C.J. Stroud this year.
Yeah, that's true. Stroud, one of the best in the league right now. What do you think about Pacers been playing pretty well. Again, Glenn mentions it in the comments about their defense, which I've been harping on since last year. I thought it was going to be better. It really hasn't got a whole lot better yet. But like you said, I think we got to give them to about the middle of the season and see.
And one thing,
the rebounding has gotten better.
I agree with both of them. Their defense has been terrible. But one thing, when I was looking at numbers the other day on it, and I think defense can improve some throughout the season, is their fourth quarter defense a lot of times has been better than the rest of the game. So I do like that. You got to figure out a way to play a little bit better defense earlier in the game. Don't get me wrong, fourth quarter defense is important because that's what's going to win you the games. But yeah, I do think I think their defense will get better. I like the way the Pacers are playing. I know Billy was asking Glenn about the Pacers at the -12 tonight.
I like it.
I'm taking it.
Oh yeah,
I have it down.
I can't do it.
At home against the Trailblazers. So yeah, so Pacers -12 is going to be one of the picks. I'm going to be giving out here.
That's a trap game.
Glenn says breaking news: Sonny sentenced to 10.6, 10 and a half years, I guess.
Yep.
For her DUI death situation.
Yep. I knew that.
Had you heard that yet?
I hadn't seen it, but the trial was going on, and they was expecting a verdict today. So
yeah. I take it Glenn ended up beating Austin in fantasy.
Yep.
He just asked us, "Hey, Godzo, was Austin upset about his fantasy game this week?" I talked to him this morning, but we didn't talk about fantasy football or anything. I forget. We were talking about some sports, but we didn't even mention fantasy football. We honestly we were actually talking wrestling.
Yep.
this morning.
Yeah.
We're talking about Raw tonight. About some Raw tonight.
They've
is what we
already
were
they
talking
just
about.
announced here a little bit ago that Raw, the first hour, will be commercial free. What kind of number you think they'll get? You think they'll get a couple million, even with Monday Night Football?
Yeah, I think they'll get a big number tonight because everybody's going to want to hear. Everybody wants to hear CM Punk talk. And,
Orton,
and then also I think people want to to hear Seth Rollins talk as well because of the videos that came out and the reactions and stuff. Which I think is a work. I think it's a work.
I think all of it's a work.
I think it's a work. And I saw some people say that they thought WWE mishandled the way they done it. They should have brought Punk in earlier in the evening. That way it wouldn't overshadow Orton. It didn't overshadow Orton at all.
I didn't think so at all.
And I think the way they done it was perfect because everybody thought the show was over. They put the logo up, the credits up, the sign off logo up. Everybody thought the show was over. Hell, even the announcers had walked. You know what I mean? The announcers were away from the table. Everybody shot. I was getting ready to get up out of my seat.
Yeah,
up out of the chair because I was going to go to the bathroom. I thought it was over. Then boom, CM Punk's music hit.
And I didn't know what was going on.
You said what's going on, and we're like, it's Punk.
Austin says Punk. Well, I couldn't hear the music very good. So Austin knows. Hell, Austin, the first beat of the music he knows because he's a big Punk.
He's been a CM Punk fan since he was.
He wasn't really a big Punk fan with AEW, but he been a big Punk fan. Yeah,
when Punk was with WWE, when Austin was little, that was his guy. Him and Edge were his guys.
Billy Buzz Sonny was real big in the 90s, I guess, with the WWE. She was the model. She really didn't wrestle. She managed. Was a model. Had a fling with Shawn Michaels and a bunch of other wrestlers. And
say with Shawn Michaels, hell about
Bret Hart, a bunch of them. So
about the whole roster, was it?
She was probably the first really popular, probably the most before Sable. She was probably the most popular woman. And Sable may have took over a little bit. I don't know. But she was big at one time.
Billy, they did, or was it? Is it A&E who does them series? Then they do
Vice.
Then they don't want on Sunny.
Chris Candido
and Sunny just a few months ago.
Check that out because it's dark.
Yeah, that goes into a lot of stuff, and it actually talks about some of this, right?
Yep, it does. And Glenn said it's bullshit. 10.5 years. Glenn, let me ask you: you don't think that's enough, or you think too much, or what's your take on that? Exactly. I would think he thinks it's not enough, but I don't know.
That's what I would say. Is probably
because she just continued to drive when she wasn't supposed to be driving, and she'd be messed up all the time.
It's not
enough. Yep.
Yeah, man. It's hard on them on stuff like that when you got lives involved on how what's the right punishment.
The fact that she continued to do it, I think hurts her. I think if it had been a first time offense and she hadn't continued to do this stuff, and she's shown no remorse and stuff either, so that hasn't helped her. So
yeah, it makes it rough on things like that. Think about Michigan beating Ohio State.
A big win. I mean, you think that, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure it's not. But some people calling for the Ohio State coach's job. I think it's ridiculous myself. But
I don't think he'll get fired. But I thought it was ridiculous at first when I heard people saying that about him maybe wanting him out of there. But then after I thought about looked at it a little more and thought about it. I still if I don't think I would fire him if I was the AD, but I don't think it is as ridiculous because if you look, he's 1-3 against Ohio State since he's been the head coach. He's like 1-4 in the college football playoffs.
Yep.
So yeah, he's won all these games, but he hasn't been able to win any of the big games.
Yep.
So I do get where some, especially when you're at a program,
and the coach before him was like 7-0 against.
Yep. If you're at a program,
be compared to that.
If you're at a program where you're at like Ohio State or Alabama, Michigan, where it's basically national title or almost bust every year. Georgia's that way now.
Yep.
And at Ohio State, the wins that matter are Michigan in the college football playoffs. And so, I mean, if you're not winning those games at some point, you are going to be in trouble. I think I don't know. I think it's just a little too early to get rid of them, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You can get rid of it. That's my thing, too. Who are you going to who are you getting rid of him to get? Who's out there that you think that boom is
going to make a difference?
I mean, are you going to bring Urban Meyer back?
That's why probably a lot of the alumni.
Other than that, I mean, who's out there right now?
I don't follow college football enough to know to say
the coach from Duke just left and went to Texas A&M. That kind of surprised me. Yeah. The Elko, because he really was turning Duke around. He's at Texas A&M now. I think Michigan has enough that they could win it all.
Do you think Harbaugh's going to be at Michigan, or do you think he could go to the NFL?
I think it's all going to depend on what kind of punishment's going to what's coming from the NCAA, because they still haven't gave out their penalty for the hamburger shit, and then now the stuff with Connor Stallions. I think if it looks like he's going to get suspended like half the season for next season, I think there's a good chance he's out and goes to the NFL, because there's 4 or 5. And now, I said earlier I thought Belichick would beat the Chargers. If Harbaugh does go to the NFL and makes his decision before anything like that could happen, I can see him going with the Chargers. If you put Harbaugh with a good quarterback and like that, with a defense, and they can build that defense back up, man, they could be tough.
What about Harbaugh to the Bears?
I've heard a lot of that too. And him if they decide they're going to keep Fields, and if Harbaugh likes Fields, him with a guy like Fields might work out good. I mean, look what he was able to do with Kaepernick. He was the one that gave Kaepernick the opportunity, and that's how Kaepernick got his bigger name, was with Harbaugh.
If I was the Bears or the Chargers, I'd go all in on trying to get Harbaugh. That's just my opinion.
But I think he likes Michigan, and that program is such in a good place right now that he's got it to. I think he, in a way, wants to stay there. But I think and we've seen it with other coaches. Pete Carroll had some investigation stuff coming down. He let we've seen it happen. So I think there's a good chance that he does go to the NFL this year. And in the last couple of years, I mean, I guess from what you hear, last year he was real close to going to the Vikings. Last year or the year before. So I think there's a good chance that he goes to the NFL. But I do think the main factor is going to be what kind of suspension is he looking at and stuff like that. I know a lot of people go, well, the NFL ain't going to let him in, let him go to there if he's getting suspended there and for accused of cheating this. NFL, them owners don't care. Rob Scott said he's coming to the Bears.
I know Rob like that. I mean, I know the Bears got some issues, but I do think they have some talent. And I think that he turned around San Francisco with less talent than what the Bears have got right now. So and turn it around quick. Yeah, I think that would be a smart move for the Bears.
I'm not gonna lie. There's been years I wanted Harbaugh to come be the Colts head coach. I'd love to. Now, right now, I like Steichen. I think Steichen's doing good, but there's been the last 2 or 3 times we've been looking for a coach. I was always, bring Harbaugh. I know some people don't like him. He's a little weird or off-putting or whatever, but him and his brother both can coach or hellified football coach. I think his brother John's done a hell of a job there in Baltimore, and we've seen what Jim could do in college, and we've seen what he's done in the NFL. So I mean, he's had success at both levels. I know he didn't get a Super Bowl in the NFL, but I mean, he had his team right there for it, and then of course he ended up going back to college.
Yep.
After it fell apart there in San Francisco, which I don't know what all that was about.
It was ownership, but I don't know what it was all about. I can't really remember.
Yeah, Rob, I agree. Rob says he's a hell of a coach and gets the most out of players.
And that's not easy to do at this day and time.
No. All right. All right.
Real quick though, if Harbaugh does leave, do you think this guy that's been coaching Michigan the last 3 times get the job? I would think so.
I think he get at least he has to at least get a serious look and interview process. I mean, you would think. I mean,
I
to
think
step into the situation, especially that game this weekend, that's not easy.
No, I think he get a job somewhere. I mean, if he
And
does
I think
stay at
people
Michigan,
forget Harbaugh missed the first 3 games of the season as well. So
yes,
and
he's coached the team.
well, that guy wasn't
But
the head coach all 3. They
no.
kind of rotated at the beginning of the season, but still, I mean, you gotta give them assistant coaches a lot of credit because that's not easy to do what they did against Ohio State. I know he was there during the week, was able to help coach during the week and stuff, but still, you got over 100,000 people in there going crazy. I mean, everything, the pressure. That's not easy.
I agree.
Yeah, like Rob said, he has his Michigan team prepared to win without him. And not just prepared like football wise, but mentally to not let all the distractions and everything going on affect the team. And if anything, it brought the team close. It brought the team closer together, and that's what I thought was more impressive than anything. Was that team got more impressive? You know what I mean? Like closer, and that's what was impressive to me because that could have very easily been a distraction that could have got the players to lose some of their focus and lost, especially through when you have that many games that he was gone. All right, get ready. We'll jump into tonight's games. What do you think about Monday Night Football night, Bears and Vikings?
I'm going with the Vikings minus. I had it -3. Is it still that?
Yes, it's
Sorry, Rob.
Vikings are 3-point favorites. They're -162 on the money line. The Bears are +136 on the money line. Over/unders at 43.5. I'm going with the Vikings at the -3 as well. I mean, I think it could be a good game. I really do. I think it could be pretty competitive. It's just I just haven't seen. I've seen more out of the Vikings than I have the Bears. That's the only reason.
And it's at Minnesota, so it's kind of why.
He said the Bears are Missoula. Nothing to apologize about. Pop, slap it out loud. In the way Dobbs has stepped in and played good with the Vikings. I mean, I'm not saying he's played great because he's turned the ball over, but he's been decent. So and they're off. They've been finding ways to win games. That Vikings defense, I don't think gets enough credit for how well they've been playing. NBA tonight. Wasn't a whole. If I remember, I wasn't a whole.
Some of these point spreads I thought were kind of weird to me. And of course, I don't know. I don't check to see who's playing and not playing.
There was only like 5 NBA games tonight. First game I'm going with the Pacers at the -12 at home against the Trailblazers. Pacers are -650 on the money line. Trailblazers +480. Over/unders at 240. The over 240 would probably be a pretty good bet as well because Pacers score a lot of points and they don't play the best defense like we were talking about earlier. But I like the Pacers at the -12. And then my other pick in the NBA night is going to be the Pelicans at the -4.5 over the Utah Jazz. The Pelicans are -220 on the money line. The Jazz are +184 on the money line. Jazz are at home in that game. That's going to be the 2 picks I had. Like I said, there was only 5 games tonight.
Okay, well, my NBA picks for tonight, I got the Lakers, Philadelphia. I'll take Philadelphia -5. And then I did have the Pelicans -4.5 at Utah. And this was when maybe I don't know who's playing if you guys are out, but I had Denver +4.5 at the Clippers.
I would say that Denver must not be having people playing because now it's Clippers are 7.5-point favorites.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with it. What the hell? You said so I'm gonna take +7.5. So got to be having quite a few people set out. or something.
Somebody has to be. I haven't looked in. I wasn't in the game I was going to take, so I haven't looked.
I'm gonna stick with it. But them are my 3 NBA picks.
Rob said I'm still going with the Bears. I'm a toxic fan. And then I didn't do no college basketball tonight.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I did.
I figured you would, so I did so.
I
didn't. Okay.
There weren't no games I really liked, so I didn't do no college. I did some NHL, but I didn't do no college.
Well, some of the teams I don't even know, but I went with my first college basketball pick for night. I got Presbyterian plus 3.5 at Elon. Then I've got UMBC plus 1.5 at Hampton. And then I've got Northern Illinois at Northwestern. I'll take Northwestern minus 11.5. In my college basketball picks for tonight.
Usually, I'm the one that gives out college basketball. You don't. So it's kind of funny that day I didn't pick any, and you did. Hockey. Yep. I went 3 games. I'm going with the Panthers on the money line over the Senators. Avalanche money line over the Lightning. And the Golden Knights money line over the Flames are going to be my 3 picks for NHL tonight.
Okay, my NHL for tonight, I got Boston money line at Columbus. I've got Buffalo at the Rangers. I'll take the Rangers money line. I got Tampa Bay at Colorado. I got Colorado money line. And I got Vegas money line at Calgary. So I did 4.
I only went with the 3 tonight. There is no college football till Friday. That kind of surprised me. Because I'm used to having like some of the Tuesday, Wednesday, but even like the MAC games and stuff, because you got getting the conference championship games and everything. It's all this weekend. Big game. I didn't realize that game was on Friday. Yep. Oregon and Washington.
Oregon and Washington Friday night.
Who do you think gets in the top 4?
I think Oregon's going to beat Washington. I think Oregon's going to beat Washington this time. I think Oregon deserves to get in then. I think Georgia's going to beat Alabama, and Alabama's going to be out. So I think it's going to be Georgia, Michigan, Oregon. And then I don't know. Because do you put Washington in? Do you put Ohio State in? Do you put Texas in? Do you put Florida State in if they win the thing?
If Florida State's undefeated, it's going to piss a lot of people off. I still think I'd put.
Okay, let's say that. But out of those,
but I don't know who it's hard to pick who you.
If you got Washington with 1 loss, and you got Ohio State with 1 loss, and you got
I don't
Texas
think,
with 1 loss. Out of those 3, I think out of those 3, I think. Especially if it's a close game and Oregon beats Washington, I think Washington deserves to be the 4th team over Ohio State.
I don't think Ohio State's going to get in. I don't. I think if
and then you still got Texas who beat Alabama.
I think if Georgia wins, it's going to be you got Michigan, Georgia. I think Oregon's going to beat Washington State. If Oregon beats Washington State. I think if Oregon wins that game, they should be in. That's 3. I would put Texas in before I put Florida State. I think I would put Texas or Washington in. Would be my next one, and it'd be hard. I mean, you're pulling because they're both 1-loss teams, but
now if Washington,
I just don't. With Florida State not having their main quarterback, it's hard for. I know, but they're undefeated. But if they don't have their main, if they win this game, it's just hard for me to believe that they're going to be able to compete with them teams without their. Because he was like the heart of their team.
If Washington beats Oregon, then that's going to be down to Texas, Ohio State. Texas beat Alabama, but if Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama ended up with 2 losses.
I still think Texas would probably get in over Ohio State.
Do you think so? Because of the Alabama win.
And Texas made their conference championship game
and won the championship. Yeah. Oh, they would have to
win. Even though the way the Big Ten set up is stupid, that ever since they went to this East-West, now you get a team like Iowa that would not, and nothing against Iowa, they got good defense. Their offense isn't very good. I mean, they're a pretty good team, but they're not going. Chances are they would not have made the Big Ten championship game if they're making the Big Ten championship game because of the side they're on. And you got Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan on the same. Which I think that's what I think Big Ten is going to change that. They're adding more teams now. You got you need either change your divisions or just don't have your divisions like that and go by the you know what I mean, the teams with the best records make the championship.
If Iowa was to upset Michigan, does that put Michigan and Ohio State both out? I don't think Iowa goes.
I think Big Ten. Yeah, if Iowa somehow upsets Michigan, I don't think Big Ten gets anybody in. Might have a chance to still get Michigan in, maybe but I don't think
beat Ohio State.
Yeah, but I don't know if you go by their whole strength of schedule, if you can get them in with one loss.
Well, they beat Penn State. They had to beat Ohio State.
That's really it.
And you lose to Iowa, that's going to hurt. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anybody gets in. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know.
It's going to be fun. Next year there's 12 teams, so it won't be. And that's the thing. I hate the 4-team format because I think it should be at least six. But it does make it interesting because you got all this. It puts all this conversation around it and everything. So I think 12 might be too many teams. I would have started out with either 6 or 8.
You said you talked 8. Who would be your 8 right now?
Oh man, I haven't went through, but because there's not 8, but you would have.
Well, right now you've got I think as far as the rankings or the last rankings came out,
you have Georgia, Michigan.
Right now Washington I think was 3rd. Say Florida State because they're undefeated. Then you still have Oregon, I think, was like 5th. I'd say Alabama was probably about 6th. And probably Texas. And then I'd say, in my opinion, Ohio State. That'd be my 8 right now. And that's not, counting games being played this week. That would be my 8.
Let's see. Is this okay? So right now here's the top 8 that they have right now in the college football playoffs. Georgia's 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3. Of course, this will change tomorrow when the new ones come out. Washington 4, Florida State 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8.
Yeah, them the 8. I didn't have them in that order, but them were the 8 teams I had.
I think with them 8 teams, I don't think you could really hardly argue with those 8 teams.
Yeah, who would you?
At 9 right now they have Missouri at 9, who's 9-2, and they have Louisville at 10, who's 10-1.
Yeah, I think those 8 would.
Penn State is 11 at 9-2. So yeah, I think them 8 would be your. I'd agree with those 8.
And you could come up with some pretty good games out of those 8. I mean, let's say you had Georgia number 1. Let's say you had Ohio State 8. Them 2 played each other first game, Georgia, Ohio State. Let's say Michigan was 2. You'd have Michigan. Say Texas was 7, 2 and 7. Washington 3, Alabama 6, Florida State, Oregon 4 and 5. Just saying if there was the numbers. I mean, they'd be good games.
Oh, Alabama got lucky over the weekend. Kept their chances alive.
That was horrible. That guy got behind him and cocked out.
Why do you only rush 2? Why do you only rush 2 there?
I don't know. You only rush 2 and somebody still gets behind you. Why wouldn't they double teamed in the end zone?
You rush 4, and then everybody else plays back. Make them throw it underneath, and then you have to rally and make a tackle. If you can't rally and make a tackle, you don't deserve to win the game anyway. But you don't give an athlete like that guy from Alabama at Milrow time to run around and look around. And don't get me wrong, it's a hell of a play. I mean, But it's just like, man.
Yeah, it was bad.
All right, we appreciate everybody joining us today. Before we get out of here, like I said, I had a real good weekend over the weekend. I went 14-4, counting Friday, my picks from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That puts my record at 670 and 502 on the year. My picks for tonight: Vikings -3 in Monday Night Football, NBA Pacers -12, and the Pelicans -4.5. Hockey tonight: Panthers money line, Avalanche money line, and the Golden Knights on the money line. That's going to be my picks for tonight.
Okay, my picks for tonight in the NFL, I got Minnesota -3 against Chicago. My college basketball picks, I got Presbyterian +3.5 at Elon. I got UMBC +1.5 at Hampton. I got Northern Illinois at Northwestern. I'll take Northwestern -11.5. In my NBA picks, I got the Lakers at 76ers. I'll take 76ers -5. I've got the Pelicans -4.5 at Utah. I got Denver +7.5 at the Clippers. In the NHL, I got Boston money line at Columbus. Got Buffalo at the Rangers. I'll take the Rangers money line. I got Tampa Bay at Colorado. I'll take Colorado money line, and I got Vegas money line at Calgary.
All right, we appreciate everybody joining us. Don't forget tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we have GWR Gonzo's Wrestling Room. We'll talk Survivor Series from over the weekend. No, Marcus went to quite a few wrestling shows over the weekend, so we'll talk some independent wrestling as well. So join us tonight for that. Also, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we have owner of FEW, Frontier Elite Wrestling, Alex Bolton, will be joining us to talk about their big show coming up this Sunday, December 3rd. I believe doors open at 5, wrestling at 6.
That sounds right, but
I'm pretty sure that. But he'll be joining us to talk about their big show coming up this Sunday. So join us for that. I'm going to check on that. See, I want to say
that sounds right to me.
I wanted to say that's what I just read the thing.
I know they had a very successful show this past Thanksgiving night. And
yeah, doors open at 5, bell times at 6. It's at the H.J. Rick Center for the Arts in Greenfield, Indiana.
I think it's a theater setting.
So, yeah, they're already they've started announcing some of the matches today. It looks like it's going to be a good card. So come out and join us for that on Sunday. I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much it for now. We're working on getting some other things, other interviews and stuff set up. But we appreciate everybody joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow right around 3 o'clock for another episode of Easy Money and Sports Betting Show.